Well, if I was to look back from the last year, in December of 2023, I stood in front of the United Soybean Board for the first time as their newly appointed CEO, and I could not have been more thrilled at that moment to look out over the course of 2024 and started to see a path forward as a new leader in the system. If there's one thing that's near and dear to my heart is farmer voice, and this year I feel a culmination of my entire professional career being wrapped up around what farmers are looking for out of this role, but also out of this organization. You know, over the course of the years, Soy Checkoff has intentionally made investments, and year over year over year, those investments are really a kaleidoscope of opportunity. It is incumbent on us to take a step back and look at that kaleidoscope of investment, but also start making some pretty intentional choices and really bringing in the focus, if you will. Tightening up that investment portfolio over the next coming years, I think is going to be really important. One is what's happening now in the market, what's really happening next in the market, and then if you can, start forecasting the future needs of the organization. So I think that's a really important part of it, going from a kaleidoscope and celebrating the successes of the past, but getting really intentionally focused on the size of the prize, whether we're talking the animal feed industry, whether we're talking biofuels, we're talking innovations, human nutrition, all of that is a landscape that's truly on the table, if you will, for focus. You know, a year ago, the executive committee asked me what I thought about getting out to see farmers. And I said, you know, I'm committed to getting out as I can, where I can. And here we are 7-8 months later, and actually have successfully been on 67 of those farms. Why is that important? You know, it's one thing to know your board, it's another to meet your board members where they are. I'm not talking at the board anymore. I'm really talking with the board. And that's the conversation I think that's most important, that serves America's soybean farmer. Personally, it was like unwrapping a present every time I drove up a driveway and got out to meet the family, to meet the farmer, to meet the pets, to get a chance to see the equipment, the fields. Is an education, and one that I will always treasure. And frankly, I'm going to look to the future every year with the idea that somehow, somewhere, I'm going to get out on the farms and continue to key in on those new relationships of this board, but also make that investment of time because it pays huge dividends. The decisions that they're making, it's incredible. The investments that they have to decide on a year before they're even planting, all of that is at risk in the market for them, and I want us to be mindful of that. And maybe said simply, I want to make sure farmers are making plays and not getting played. It seems like a whole lot of folks want to take dollars out of their pockets, and we're in a unique position to help drive dollars into their pockets. While we can't take credit for the price of a bushel of beans, we know that our work lies in the opportunity to create value in the supply chain for years to come. That's not lost on me, that's not lost on our staff, and we couldn't be more proud to work for farmers. When we think about a leadership platform, the commitment early on is we had a 100-day plan. And during that 100 days, I wanted to listen, learn, and discern what was on the farmers' minds and the stakeholder minds, the partnership minds of organizations that we work with. And there really became 3 themes that came to the surface quickly. That was one of transparency into what we're doing and why we're doing it. Another one was efficiency. Are we doing it as efficiently as we can? And ultimately, accountability. Who's accountable for what and why? And making sure that there's guardrails in the system of that accountability so that we know where the buck stops. You know, if you think about coming through a transparency, efficiency, and accountability, there have been a number of conversations that I've had over the course of this year that have teed up what's really next. And I like to keep it simple. And I think it's about unity of us as a board and staff, unity of us with our partnerships, unity with us through the qualified state soybean boards and the United Soybean Board. It's really expecting unification and partnership across all of the soy family, if you will. Another one is leadership. You know, nothing happens without leadership. And in the absence of leadership, leaders lead. But uniquely, United Soybean Board is positioned to be the leaders for the soy industry. And we have partners like the American Soybean Association also leading in their area of responsibility. We have organizations like the United States Soy Export Council doing the work internationally to make sure we've got market access at a global scale. But we also have partners like U.S. Meat Export Federation. Those folks are taking the finished product that we add value to here at home and getting it exported, that protein, into human consumption on a global scale. So leadership. And then ultimately, you start thinking about discipline. And what do I mean by discipline? Discipline shows up in everything that we do, whether it's the discipline on your farm, the discipline in the boardroom, the discipline in committee work, the discipline that happens with us as staff. It's making sure that we have our roles and clarity around our roles and the responsibility that we are each bring to the table. Having that discipline of mindset, I think is going to be really key. And then I think by doing that, think about it, unity, leadership, and discipline. Those three words really help drive an organization's effectiveness. Thank you for what you do, but also thank you for your trust. I know it's not a given, it's not taken for granted, we're going to earn it. We're going to do what we can every day on your behalf. We're going to push ourselves. Even when you don't see it happening, I want you to know we're pushing ourselves to deliver the very best that we can on your behalf. Thanks for your trust in us, and we wish you bountiful harvest for years to come, and we're going to do our very best to ensure there's volume and value in the supply chain waiting for you this year, next year, and the year after.